This is a clock that isn't currently capable of actually telling the time, but it does chime, and it sounds beautiful. It's a Ridgeway Model 112 Wakefield, and judging by the numbers on this piece of paper behind the dial here, I believe it's dated June 1976. It has an Ergos 312 movement in it, which I think is awesome sauce. However, the chimes are sluggish on it. I'll warn you, they are very sluggish because um, the little old lady who sold this clock to me for $100 allowed it to sit abandoned in her garage for a number of years. I don't know how long. I'm just guessing a number of years. Her grandmother bought it new, and she told me she recalled listening to it as a kid. And then her mom inherited it, and then she inherited it, but she didn't have room for it, so she let it sit in the garage. 20 people other than me were interested in buying this clock, but she chose me because I was absolutely adamant about having it serviced and put back into fully working order rather than, and funnily enough, other people admitted to wanting to gut the clock and turn it into a shelf, but that's not what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do after this video is try to get the movement out and send it to a good friend of mine who is named Kobe, and he services movements, and I'm going to pay him to service this movement, get it into pristine condition, if not better than like new condition. But I've got it on Whittington right now, and I'll warn you, off camera a couple of times, it knocked itself out of sequence by straight up forgetting to do the quarter chime and then falling silent for an hour cycle to self-correct. Which is interesting because I didn't think they started self-correcting until the 80s, but the 70s ergos movements have it. So if it knocks itself out of sequence again, I'll show you how it self-corrects. But here we go. Here we go. Told you they were sluggish. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold on to the weight while it chimes to just keep it going. Told you it sounded pretty. Now I'll give you a view inside the clock when it does the three-quarter chime. Second thought, I probably should have turned on the flash. It's a bit dark in here. There's no light in this clock, but that's okay. Okay, here we go. Now wait till you hear how pretty this strike sounds. Now, please excuse the zoom on my camera for being stuttering like I've got a piece of shit Android phone, so please excuse me. Anyway, I've got to marvel at just how cosmetically pristine it is, underneath the dust at least. The dial ain't too tarnished. I'm actually surprised by how shiny it still is, given it's been sitting in the garage for an amount of time and it's coming up to 50 years old. So we'll go ahead and switch it to St. Michael and go through the St. Michael quarters. Hold on to the weight again. So I figure I ought to tell you. Um, when I first arrived to pick up the clock, the pendulum didn't go down that low. I don't know what happened. I took it off to haul it in the SUV to bring it back here, and I don't know, the board at the bottom of the door did not cut off the view of the pendulum bob, so I don't know why it's longer now. I don't know what caused that. Nor was I really paying attention to how it was hanging before I took it off. I'll show you how I put it on. It's on that. I'm probably doing it wrong. I really gotta. I'll figure it out eventually. Anyway, let's continue. It's really not wanting to go. Still less sluggish than a modern harmony. Now we're going to end the video off with the classic, one that everybody loves the most, obviously. The Westminster chime, the Big Ben sound. The reason I call it the Big Ben sound is because when this one does the Westminster chime, it does it in the same key as Big Ben. Maybe a weensy bit flat just because of how the rods were tuned, kind of like a slightly out of tune piano, which I think is beautiful, by the way. They don't do that with the modern Howard Millers. Anyway, here we go, Westminster. This one, it ain't quite as difficult for the dried out chime train to accomplish. The thing is, the second rod, which is the lowest rod on Westminster, is, I'm a musician, so I can tell just by listening to it, it's a weensy bit flat. I'm gonna try to figure out how to tune that up with it a little bit so it's up with the rest of them and it sounds perfect. The rest of the rods are just fine though. I figure I ought to show you the moving moon dial as well, so let me just move it around and spin it a little spin it a couple of times. There we go. This is actually my first time seeing it as well. I'm pretty sure on the other side there's a sailboat. It's just like Kobe's Emperor 300. We'll keep it on the sailboat now. I don't know what that logo is supposed to mean. You squint your eyes, you think it's Canadian. Anyway, here we go. And I'm going to back away from the clock so you can hear it at a bit of a distance now.